My name is Nick Muzyczka, and I'm a professor here at the University of Florida. I've been a professor here off and on for the last 25 years. Most of that time I've worked on a small virus called adeno-associated virus. And the reason I was working on that is because from the very earliest time I've been committed to finding a way to develop a tool to move genes into people. Originally the idea was to see if we could cure genetic diseases. I was born in Germany and I'm actually an immigrant. My parents were Ukrainian and they were brought to Germany during the Second World War as labor and met there in a refugee camp, and then when I was 5 years old brought me here to the United States. I remember the first book that I read that really got me interested in science was a very thin little book that I pulled out of the Irvington Public Library, and the idea of the book was we had started as primitive people, and over the years had developed a consciousness and a science and a way of doing science and now we were essentially ready to go into space and discover the universe, and it just inspired me. I don't know how else to say it. And so for the longest time I wanted to be an astronomer. But I realized that I wasn't good enough to be a physicist or an astronomer. But I was probably good enough to work on the problems of biological sciences. So I went into science, and specifically into biology, and managed to get into Johns Hopkins of all places, and wound up with some terrific mentors, one of them being Maurice Bessman, who taught me how to be a biochemist, and then the Nobel Prize winner, Dan Nathans, who essentially said, Nick, you need to figure out how to do gene therapy. And he started me on that project, and that's what I've been working on for the rest of my life. When a child is born with a genetic disease like muscular dystrophy, there isn't much we can do for them. About 35 years ago, we learned how to clone genes. And when we did that, several laboratories, ours included, began thinking about substituting the good genes for the bad genes. To do that, we needed to develop a gene delivery system, a way of getting the genes into the human body. Our laboratory focused on adeno-associated virus, or rAAV. We chose this virus because it doesn't cause disease and because it lasts a very long time. The trick was to figure out how to remove parts of the viral genome and substitute it with the gene that we wanted to deliver. Once we had done that, our colleagues here at the Powell Gene Therapy Center began testing the virus for a variety of genetic diseases, along with other academics around the country. The virus can usually be delivered to patients by a simple intravenous or intramuscular injection. And once it delivers its payload into cells, the DNA is uncoated and exists as an extra chromosome inside the cell and persists there for many years and possibly for the lifetime of the patient. So far, the results look very encouraging. We hope in the near future that we will finally have a way of treating genetic diseases that we have never had before. The reason that we're sitting here today and the reason that I got an award isn't because of what I did, it's because of what a lot of other people did. If they hadn't done what they did and showed that it actually worked, what I did would have been a footnote.